So, here's the thing. I'm out of space on my bookshelves. This should come as absolutely no surprise to anyone here. I have a lot of books. I have a great fondness for books. I have plans to build more bookshelves in a different room, but that is a next year project, and those books are still, it's going to be still problematic because the books that I'm talking about specifically that I need to have on the shelf rather than just on the floor waiting for the new bookshelves are my books. This whole shelf is my books, books that I have written. I'm out of room for my own books on my bookshelf, so that's kind of a problem. What I thought I would do today is rearrange my published books and reference books and notebooks shelf. I'll give you a better look. Let's see if I can do this without breaking things. Okay. On this top shelf here, this is all my books. Now you can see I have multiple copies of the same book. Let's, zooming in. I have, book 1 and book 2 of various things because they are different formats. However, I don't have that for the Wing Cycle series, and I really would like to, and I don't have it for Speaker of Words and Crow and the King, again, which I really would like to have all the formats of all the books, well, except ebook and audiobook, obviously. I would like to have that on this shelf. Behind this stack of books here are some books that I wrote as pure plain old romance novels. I no longer do just regular old romance novels, so those are still important to have on the shelf, but less important than the books that are currently out and in circulation. So that's this shelf, and these books are, I'll explain those in a bit. And then we have, this is reference stuff. Dictionary, thesaurus, linguistics, some random things that are not necessarily language related, stuff I use for editing, police procedural, which I don't write mysteries. I will write mystery, I really want to one day, but I don't right now. So, yeah. But this is all reference, and then, one more shelf. Oh, more reference stuff. This is a lot more editing and storycraft sort of a thing. All my reference stuff is arranged by height, so it's not genre specific. Some language things, Latin and grammar and that sort of stuff. And then if I can, let me see if I can do this without jarring you too much. Okay, this shelf down here, this is all notebooks. Some I have started using already, so they have a few pieces in it, and then some are completely blank. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the notebooks off of that bottom shelf, and I'm going to expand the shelf of my books down one. It won't completely fill this shelf, so I should have some space still for reference, but probably only I will ever do about half of that until such time as I have more books out, which I intend to do because A, I am a fantasy author, and B, I don't know if it's possible for me to stop writing at this point in time. I want to have room for all my future books. We'll go from there. I suppose I should start by taking the notebooks off of the bottom shelf. My only other concern is that I don't actually know where I'm going to put them. I want to have access to them, ready access, because I use my notebooks. I am not just a collector of notebooks. I actively use them for story planning and short stories and handwriting and editing notes for other clients and that sort of a thing. So I need access to these notebooks, but I'm not sure where I'm going to put them. I have a little bit of space under my nightstand. Maybe. I'll start by pulling them off, and I will figure out where to put them later. But the most important thing is to get my books plenty of room. All right, let's begin. This, oh dear, sketchbook. These don't need to necessarily be included in that collection. I will put them aside. Yeah. Do I need to go through all these notebooks? Absolutely not. But this is, you know, this is lore for some of my earlier books, and I need to use it, and I love it. So, okay. These have nothing to do with notebooks. These are book covers. Actually, I need to make a template out of this so I can make my own. And then more book covers back when I had the bookish box, which I do not anymore. Not for many years, actually, but regardless. And this is a box of letters and old photographs and things. This doesn't need to be on the shelf. It's actually completely full. Alright. Uh-oh. Hi, Duncan. Are you coming to say hello? Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Hi. Yeah. Oh. You want to be in my film? Yeah. Oh. How about you let me do my work now? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. The hazards of trying to film literally anything at dog height. Yep. Alright. These are blank. This I have plans for in a future video. It's a really cool split notebook with white paper on one side and dark paper on the other. I have plans for this. I will show you in a future video. I'll set that aside. Over there. Oops. More blank notebooks. Whoops. I knew that was going to happen. These are all blank. And I think this is the last one. My blank notebooks. And now we get into... These all have been started, even if not vastly. There are a few things in each notebook. I will put these somewhere else. Ooh. Funk. I really should go through these. They're so pretty. I mean, look at that. This one will actually be relevant for a project for next year, so I need to make sure that I have this at close range to my writing. I don't even remember what's in this one. And some more world lore, not necessarily for anything current, and just some random snippets of stories that I started and never went anywhere with. I've had this one forever. Yep. Long time. And then... Oh, this is stuff from Remembrance and Resurgence that I have. Oh, that's cool. Not complete. The book obviously has a few more pages to go. That was a fun story. I loved working on those. And I had this forever. Interesting. Okay. That's about as much dusting as I'm gonna do. Let's start moving stuff. Okay, first things first. Will the tallest book fit? Yes, it will. Awesome. The real question is whether these guys will fit down here, or do I need to move things around? Let's find out. Yes, by the way, I do use actual dictionaries. Okay, so that one fits, but it will not fit there. That's what I thought. So we'll put this one back, and we'll discard that. Just barely. Okay. So I'm going to put the tall books on the bottom because they don't fit down here. I'll just leave these as they were for now. Okay. I love reference books, like actual physical reference books that make me so happy. Alright, so this is the bottom two shelves now. I normally like doing highest to lowest, but since these won't fit up here, we're just going to do it this way, and it'll be fine. The question is, A, what to do with all these. I'll sort that out later. Let's get started on some of these books. How I have these books arranged is, well, it's by height. I really like having my books arranged by height, even though it's silly and I should be arranging it in order of publication. I don't want to. So we're going to continue with the arranged by height for the most part. Song of Ink, that can stay. Resurgence, that can stay as it is. These I will move away, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Okay. This guy, from the Academy Anthology. I only have a short story in this, so I don't know if it needs to be included in my primary array. I kind of want it at the end, so I'll put it down here for now. And it's gonna fall over, that's fine. Okay, let's just start pulling these out. These, you can't see that. This was actually the very first book that I did publish. It is a mystery novel. I published it when I was like 16. I had no idea how anything about the self-publishing industry worked. I just threw a cover design together. As you can see, it doesn't even go all the way around the back. But I didn't even format it properly. I had no idea what I was doing. I just assumed that once I published a book, the world would take notice. I even published a sequel. It was meant to be a trilogy, cozy historical mystery of types. I unpublished these. You cannot acquire them at all on Amazon, so these are some of the only copies in existence, apart from the ones on my computer. I keep them. I have plans to eventually one day, once I get back into the realm of writing mysteries, I intend to, I don't know, revisit this world, these stories. We'll go from there. In any case, they do not need to be first up on the shelf. So we'll put them actually down here at the very end. And then, okay, these guys, whoops, I'm trying to get that without the glare. Search for Reality, oops, The Houndskeeper, and The Wooden Rose. Wow, hardly see that. These are actually regular old, plain old romance novels. These are the ones I wrote under a different pen name, Evelyn Grimald, instead of my full name, Evelyn Grimald Stone. Again, I no longer write regular old, plain old romance. I like the magic. Anyways, these guys will go next to the no longer in print. And these two, whoops, this is The Keeper of the Wild Places and the sequel between Song and Sea. These are actually fantasy romances that I wrote as the pen name Evelyn Grimald instead of Evelyn Grimald Stone, and I am going to republish these with the full name. It's meant to be a trilogy. I wrote the first two, and then because I had given up the romance writing pen name, I decided not to continue with these. But these really are fantasy romance, and they absolutely fall into my current situation. As you can see, I have gone through and annotated this guy rather dramatically so that I can get research on the book and write the trilogy, write the third book, and then republish these. They will get new covers, they'll get a light edit. It should be really fun. I hope to get to this in 2026. It is fairly high on my list of projects to get to these. As you can see, I didn't even get so far as ordering author copies for this. That's how much effort I put into it, because I was right at the end of the writing plain old romance thing, and I really want to revisit these. These are great books, actually. I liked them. I liked writing them, and I want to continue with them. So these are, for the moment, staying on the shelf, but because the old covers won't be around for much longer, these are mostly just reference books, which means they get to go here. Okay. And then we have, whoops, Mistletoe Hills. This is a Christmas romance that I co-wrote with Kristen Babst, and it's really cute. If you like Christmas romances, it's second chance romance with mental health rep, and it's a very cute story. On this side, I'll actually put it here since it's technically romance, and we'll go there even though it's taller. Okay, now we're getting into Speaker of Words, sci-fi book. Great book if you're interested in sci-fi. I really should do more with sci-fi. I just haven't. So I want this one to have the paperback to go with it. So that's going to go here. Actually, I'm going to switch these because, again, that's sci-fi and those are fantasy. Great. And then that means that the anthology goes there. Now we're getting into the standalone books. Order of the Owl. I had initially intended this to be a series. It's a sort of urban fantasy, time travel, fantasy, adventure. It's a really fun story. I think I'm only ever going to do one of these unless I completely revamp my plans for the series, but I still had fun with it. And Crow and the King is also a standalone. It is a YA fantasy, low fantasy romance. Still one of my favorite books that I've written. It was really fun to write. Had a great time with it. I can now add the paperback. Okay. Now we're getting into these guys up here. Let's see if I can't. Okay. These guys are all more into the fantasy series section. I am just going to add books. I have the paperback copies of The Wing Cycle. At some point, I would love to get new covers for this series. I think these covers are absolutely beautiful, but I'm currently writing the follow-on series for this series, taking place about 20 years after these books, and it would really be cool to have these covers and the covers for the new books kind of tie in together. So eventually I will be getting new covers for these, but I have to finish the trilogy that I'm writing so I can publish them all kind of at the same time, and I will probably do cover refreshes as a precursor to the new books. In the meantime, I'm going to add them up here. Oh no, don't fall over. Okay. These guys, I think I'm going to keep these here as they are. I will be getting, oh no, the cover bent. That's tragic. Cover got a little bent. It's fine. I will be getting author copies for book 2 of this very shortly. They still haven't come in the post. It's just, you know, ordering author copies sometimes takes a bit. But these will be... This is a continuing series. I don't know how many books there will be, so what I will probably do is switch it with my On Behalf of Death stud, which is in fact a complete urban fantasy series. I'm going to put these down here since they are complete. I know exactly how many books there are. And if you look carefully, whoops, you'll see that there are 2 knowledge of forethoughts. This is actually a misprint, and I thought it was fun, so I kept it. This should mean, this should be Mischief, Mayhem, and Shakespeare, not Knowledge of Forethought. Yes, I have the correct copies for sale on my store. I just like having a misprint. I think it's fun. These are all complete. This shelf is not likely to expand much, except when I update the Keeper books. But this shelf up here, these guys are all complete. Complete duology, epic fantasy with romance, epic romantasy, epic fantasy, tiny smidge of romance, cozy fantasy. The cozy fantasy books, I have the proof copy that I rebound, so I'm going to put that up here because it goes with the series, even though it's not an official author copy or whatever. And this, let me zoom out for you. This gives me plenty of space to add books. Now I can publish a few more books. Is this too much space? Probably, but I don't want to just halfway take off my notebooks, so it'll be fine for now. So this will be fine. I am going to put knickknacks and things on here to keep these from falling over because I know how that works. They tend to fall over if I'm not paying attention. It happens. It happens. I think that's a pretty good rearranging. This gives me plenty of space for new books. It is a bit more accessible for when I need to pull these off for pictures or videos or whatever. I can move things around. I can get to all the books. It works great. Reference books are still accessible down below, which is grand. My only problem is that now I have piles of notebooks that I have to figure out where to put. I really need to get started on those bookshelves. Anyways, thank you for sticking with me on this adventure in rearranging my bookshelves. I need to do a proper rearranging very soon, simply because my TBR, my physical TBR, got larger again, and I need to figure out how to put it onto that shelf there when I finish reading the books. But that is a later problem. My current problem is just sorting out these books, these notebooks, and once I do that, I'll let you have a look at the final result.